Hey Big Brains, I'm here with Dusty Betty and we're here at the 2024 Sea Otter Classic. Today we're gonna go find all the brainy stuff we can find, the interesting, the wacky, the thinking outside the box, and the new. Let's go see what we can find. We're here at the 5Dev booth and my brand new signature Stanton Sedona signature hardtail is on display. We'll go take a look at it along with the new stuff from 5Dev. Here she is. This is the only one in existence. I am so pleased with how this turned out. The vintage Toyota color, livery and stripes turned out really cool. This is a steel hardtail meant for having fun at slow speeds. My other signature hardtail's a rowdy shredder, but where most of us ride hardtails is not on the black diamonds and double black diamonds. So I wanted to build something that was my dream bike for slower speeds. And for slower speeds, you need a shorter wheelbase. Long, slack bikes don't really come alive till they go fast. And so this is meant for coming alive on the trails that are probably closest to your home. The idea is to ride this to the trail from your home and have a blast on the trails that used to be boring. So we have a super short chainstay, super short seat tube. We've got a 200 mil dropper in here that fits, completely internal cable routing in here. That's the only port that it enters. Super tall stack. It's designed around a 120 mil fork. Shortish reach, designed for a longer stem. Now I know everybody's gone toward the shorter stems and the 35s and the 40s, and we like that tucked in cockpit, which was, you know, in my opinion, that's better for the shreddy enduro-y bikes. But on my trail bikes, I actually like something more like a 50 mil stem. This is 5Dev's beautiful titanium stem in the diamond coating. Absolutely beautiful. That's a 48 mil stem. We've also got the 5Dev Kashima cranks on here. Anything 5Dev you get, you can save 5% on with the link in the description below. A little bit of that helps support this channel. Super grateful for them for always hooking us up with the coolest new parts and helping support this channel and make it what it is. Let's go take a look at their brand new cranks. 5Dev's hitting the gravel and road market hard. These are the brand new titanium cranks. These are hollow and laser welded in-house in San Diego. These are available in 175, 170, and 165, and they actually have a spindle to make them work on your XC bike as well. They come in at 430 grams, super light, super thin. When I first saw these online, I didn't realize how thin they were till I saw them in person. Absolutely stunning cranks. To go with the Aero tie cranks, 5Dev created an Aero chain ring. This is a 42 tooth for you gravel guys, and a 52 tooth. That is a massive pie plate for road, and absolutely beautiful, machined in-house in San Diego. If you're into road or gravel, or you want a super light XC titanium crank set that no one else has, you can get a discount using that code down below. Are you into short cranks? These are 135s. I love it. You might recognize these cranks from Cam Zink's Red Bull winning run. He was running the 150 mil length. These are a little bit stronger. These are a little bit more solid for downhill, hard enduro, Red Bull Rampage. So if you're more of a shredder and you want something bomb-proof, check these Cam Zink signatures out. These are prototype. They're not available yet. These are aluminum versions of the tie stem that I run. A little bit lighter, a little bit more affordable. Not tie. I'm okay with that. I'm excited to try these out, but these aren't on production yet. These are just kind of in testing right now. Another new thing at this show are these titanium pulley wheels. They're made out of the titanium that they use for their chain rings. What a cool way to reuse the material and not waste. Super light, and they have ceramic enduro bearings in them for the ultimate functional fashion. All of this is like jewelry for your bike that's functional, and it's just a really neat way to make your bike pop and stand out from the crowd. But these guys are mountain bikers, and they engineer it to have a performance advantage as well. Super fun stuff over here at 5Dev. Found a winner. Best handlebar award goes to... Oh yeah, for bike rail. Yes. There's stands. I'm gonna put mine on a stand. Question is it an 800 mil wide steering wheel? We're here at the Omnium booth, and they make cargo bikes. They're from Copenhagen, and they have some really interesting stuff going on. This is a human carrier, e-bike, power assist, internally geared hub. They've got traditional gears as well, and non-e-bike, non-pedal assist, and non-pedal assist hub gears as well. I've been seeing a lot of these around online, and I've never actually ridden a cargo bike. It really intrigues me because there's some different things going on. Smaller front wheel, it's way out in front of you. And where I live, there's enough hills. I don't really think about carrying stuff around, but with a little bit of electric assist, that might make a lot of sense. I'm gonna go take one of these for a spin, see what it feels like. All right, so this is a size small frame with the long wheelbase non-pedal assist. I probably need an extra small frame. They've even got an integrated dropper in here, which now that I'm used to droppers, it's hard to go back to anything else. All right, he said just don't look at the front like it has a front wheel. Oh, this is different. It's like hauling a trailer in reverse. Like the front end's long. Yeah, it's weird. You swing your turns wide, but in the front, not in the back. But it's pretty intuitive to just start pedaling. Wow, very comfy to ride. I've seen a lot of stuff online where people, you know, go to the grocery store like this. If you're trying to find a bike that replaces your car, something like this really has some cool options. Dusty Betty's over there on the electric version. Kind of fun, huh? Why are these so fun? I want to build a bike packing version now that's like got a little suspension fork and see how it carries bike packing gear. We got a bunch of groms on e-bikes zipping around. Wow, really neutral handling. Surprising how, even though this is the long wheelbase version, it doesn't feel crazy. It feels like riding a bike. Things feel solid. And the internally geared hub shifts really nice. Yeah, it's interesting just kind of judging your corners. I want to do a foot down contest on one of these. That was fun. We got to see how this carries you.
It carries me?
Yeah.
Alright.
All right, we're going to see if Dusty Betty trusts me. We're going to put her on the front. All right, hop on. This is the Mini Max, little wheelbase. You got 110 pounds on the front. I've got power assist.
I am the cargo.
Dusty Betty's the cargo. That's pretty fun. I could totally see taking my daughter to school on this thing. She's on a Mac ride on our e-bike right now, and it's a little tight. She's getting bigger. We could pretty much carry her until she's 80 on this thing. That's fun. The little shorter wheelbase is a little bit easier to maneuver. So apparently the long wheelbase one has more stability with a lot of weight on it. So if you're carrying a lot of weight all the time, oh, sorry. If you're carrying a lot of weight all the time, maybe get a long wheelbase one, but they say if you start your ride unloaded, like you're going to the grocery store or farmer's market, and then you load it up, a lot of people prefer the Mini Max like this. This does feel smaller as far as like turning radius and stuff. Really cool. All right. If you've never ridden a cargo bike, don't judge them until you ride them. They're actually really fun, and for some dumb reason, I'm trying to find a way to justify having one. I have too many bikes. I don't need to invent reasons to have bikes, but they're really fun. And if your city's set up for it, I think it could be a really cool way to incorporate cycling into your everyday life, even when you're not just out going for a ride for fun. We're here at Madrone Cycling Components, and they make replacement links for your bent axis derailleur or even your non-axis SRAM stuff, and they also make the tools to service it. So if you've spent $500 on a wireless axis upgrade and then you crash or banged it into a rock and it's not shifting like it used to be, there's hope. SRAM doesn't make replacement parts for the non-transmission stuff, but Madrone does. So they've got all the tools that you need to press out the pins and replace them with new parts. Pretty cool to see. I think a lot of times we're in this throwaway mentality where we buy this latest and greatest thing, it stops working, and we chuck it, and then we buy the next one. And I like seeing things that are serviceable, and I like seeing people think outside the box with their big brains and find new ways to keep old stuff going. This is also a prototype derailleur. Taking all the knowledge they had from replacing SRAMs, they've come up with their idea of an improvement on the derailleur for a little bit more refined tactile feel. This is a cable derailleur. I'd be curious to see what that thing shifts like. I'm excited to see more competition out there and more ideas and more options for us to try on our bikes. This year more than ever, I'm feeling like a lot of these booths are very similar. It almost feels like 3 or 4 booths have the exact same product with a different brand on it. But here at Big Brain Party, we're gonna focus on the unique, the exciting, the brainy, and the nerdy. So let's go see what interesting things we can find. We're here at TSB Technology, and they cater to manufacturers. I'm not a manufacturer, you may be. They're out of China, and they're making incredible titanium things with 3D printed parts. 3D printed yokes, titanium bars. The idea is they have the technology to put your dreams into action. So if you want to start a titanium bike frame company, or you want to order 10 unique bikes for your team, you send these guys the information and they create it for you. Take a look at some of the cool stuff they're doing. This whole display has been 3D printed. And one cool thing they can do with this 3D printed titanium, it comes in as a dust and they melt it with a laser and they build it layer upon layer upon layer. They can also build internal structures into the tube. You can't do that with traditional tubing, but with 3D printing, you can design all internal bracing and structures so you can get the stiffness, ride quality, and flex characteristics that you want out of your part. Lots of interesting yokes here, bottom bracket shells. My brain is already spinning. I wish I had more CAD experience. I want to build a fat bike hardtail, and I think it needs to use 3D printed parts, and I'm curious. I need more knowledge, but it's cool to see companies like this willing to help small companies create their frame under their brand, or they could create parts for you to create on your frame. Really cool to see this technology. This is big brain stuff. Look at these 3D printed drop bars. Incredible. 3D printed tie cranks. Man, the technology is incredible. Here at Big Brain Party, we like to nerd out on things and educate ourselves and make educated decisions. A lot of people just kind of overlook the saddle that came on their bike, or they ride a buddy's and try that saddle. But there's a lot that goes into finding the perfect saddle for you. Everybody has a different skeletal structure, and the structure of where your sit bones land affects whether a saddle fits you or not. And WTB's been doing some interesting stuff. They found correlations between things like the width of your wrist and the length of your forearm and all these interesting measurements, and how that correlates to people's sit bones. And so you can find a saddle finder, width finder, based off measurements that aren't actually your sit bone width. It's actually pretty tricky measuring your sit bone width. I've done it probably 20 different times, and I get slightly different answers each time. And so I think it's intriguing to find a different way to measure whether the saddle fits you or not. Also, riding position. If you're really hunched over and you're in a really attack position like a road bike or a gravel bike, your sit bones are closer together when you rock forward. When you rock back and sit more upright, your sit bones are a little bit wider. And so this little calculator factors that in for you as well. They also factor in level of cushion that you want. You know, if you're an aggressive rider that rides 4 or 5 times a week, you're gonna want less cushion, usually. Everybody's different. Or if you only ride once a month, you might want more cushion. So they've got this little finder to help you narrow down which of their saddles fit the widths that you want and fit the cushion that you want. I was talking to the WTB guys and I said, I know that saddle nose is getting shorter and shorter and shorter. In the old days, we used to have a long nose saddle so that when you're sitting down and you're riding and the front end starts coming up, you slide forward, that puts pressure on the nose of the saddle and keeps the front end down. I said, why are we seeing shorter saddles, and how is mountain bike geometry affecting that? Like, do you still sit in the same spot with the shorter nose saddles? Because like a Brooks saddle actually shifts you forward more than most other people's saddles. saddles, and other saddles position you in a different place. And he said, with our steeper seat tube angles, we're finding less and less of a reason for people to slide forward on the nose. And so people don't need to use the whole of the saddle like they used to in the past. And so that's why we're seeing saddles get shorter and shorter. As we've dialed in our mountain bike geometry and got them to behave well, staying in the middle of the bike, we don't need the saddle to compensate for that. Really interesting concept how geometry is affecting things as simple as a saddle. Now there's still long saddles if you're like me and you like to move around on it and sit on different places to move your weight around, but I thought that was a really fascinating conversation. This is the Spot Rive in the brand new purple color. This is my lightweight trail bike. I love the Rive. It's super fun. You're going to be seeing more of it on the channel, but I just had to capture this in person. Spot's not at Sea Otter, but a couple of their bikes are floating around. They use a leaf spring made out of titanium to alter how this suspension curve works. It's way beyond my little brain. I'm gonna have to talk with Andy over there and we'll get him on the channel to explain what's going on, but Spot bikes ride so unique and they're so much fun. We're here at the Industry 9 booth. This is Nick Neuhaus's bike. He told me to come by and check out the new Solix hubs. There is a Solix Road and gravel and a Solix Mountain. This is a lighter weight hub than the Hydra. It's not meant for super like e-bike massive power applications. It's more for like your trail bikes and XC bikes, gravel and road. So here we're gonna take a look at Hydra, which we're all familiar with, and the new Solix. There are a few changes here and you're gonna have to be nerdy with me to understand what's going on here. Traditional hubs have the sealing of the bearing right here. That little dust seal will keep dust and grime out from the balls and grease inside of there. The new Solix hub has a dedicated seal that goes in between this end cap and the bearing. That means longer bearing life. They're still using Enduro bearings. Enduro bearings are by far the best that I've seen. Enduro made forklift bearings, which are very slow rotation, high load. And they took that knowledge and brought it to the bike industry. It's still very, very, very high engagement, almost the same as this. I doubt you could tell the difference. It was something like 605 points of engagement versus 690. Either way, it's less than half a degree of play in there. That's one thing we love about Industry 9 is their high engagement hubs, their fun colors. They're made in Asheville, North Carolina. Another cool thing they've done here is if you look at the actual pawls here, that round part of the pawl that sits in that socket, the socket is bigger on the new Solix. So the pawls actually have a bigger socket. That just means even more material around there. It's a little bit stiffer, a little bit stronger, and it's less likely to have issues with the socket that the pawl sits in. So overall, they're about 80 grams lighter than Hydra, still really fast engagement, and a few improvements upon how Hydra's made in the past. Really excited to see them pushing things and innovating and making things lighter and a little bit more durable even. We're here at the Cascade Components booth, and these guys are the nerdiest of the nerds, and I say that with affection. We are looking at their products. So many people know them for their aftermarket suspension links to make the suspension behave differently than the stock bike or help you be able to run a mullet setup on a bike that wasn't intended to be mullet. That's what their bread and butter is. But they've got a lot of other really interesting things going on here, like these completely solid machined aluminum brake calipers here. They've got a mineral oil version and a DOT version. The DOT version's about 20% stronger than code, as they claim. You can use code pads in here. You can interchange code parts if you want. Really beautiful, made in the US. And then these will take any 4-piston Shimano TRP style pad as well. They've also got a new stem that just came out. And then check this out, this whole derailleur cage for transmission. It's stiffer. It's got oversized aluminum pulleys with Enduro stainless steel bearings in there, narrow wide tooth profile. If you've been having issues with your transmission cage bending or breaking chains, it might be the cage, and you might want to look into something like this to upgrade it. They've also got these really cool brake bias adjuster I'm going to show you, where you can kind of adjust the volume of your brake fluid so that as your brake pads wear, you can make up for it and get lazy and not have to bleed it right away by pushing a little bit more fluid into the system. These are currently available for TRPs, and so what happens is as your brake pads wear, you dial in this adjuster knob and it pushes more fluid in there and essentially brings your pads closer together. I'm curious if you could use this as a bite lever point adjustment. That's my biggest reason I run cable brakes over hydraulic disc brakes. I run both, but on my hydraulic disc brakes, I really prefer those Code RSCs where you can dial in the contact pad adjust. This seems like another way to do that. I'm really picky about where my levers grab in their stroke. And I can dial those in with my clampers, and I've never been able to dial it perfectly with hydraulic. This might be the way to do that. We're here at Reform Saddles, and they've got some interesting tech going on here. It looks like an everyday normal mountain bike saddle, or road saddle, or gravel saddle. But what it has is a heating element inside. It's kind of like that ski boot technology where you heat it up and get it molded to yourself. They've done some pressure mapping here. Before molding the saddle, you could see some high pressure points, and after molding it, it conformed to the anatomy of the rider. So the idea is you plug it in, get it nice and warm, and it heats up, and then it's pliable, and then you go for a ride, and as you sit on that pliable material, it squishes and moves and conforms to your body, so it's exactly fit for your body. Now, I'm curious to try this. I have some assumptions that may be incorrect. I wonder if it's gonna put pressure on places other than the sit bones. I'm sure they've thought of that. If I've thought of that here in 10 seconds, I guarantee the founders have. These are handmade in Vancouver. I'm gonna try and get one of these in on the channel to let you know what I think, if it's the ultimate in comfort and support, or if it didn't quite work for me. I'm really curious though. I like the idea of do-it-yourself customization at home where you don't have to pay for something super one-off, super custom. And I like the integration as well, that all the heavy part is off the saddle and you just plug it on with this little magnetic mount here, and that's what heats it up to get it going. So the part that actually forms is the carbon fiber. So as you heat this up, it gets really, really hot. You don't want to touch this. Plug it in for 6 minutes, it gets hot. The foam will stay the same, but as you sit on it, the carbon will reshape itself to your anatomy. Another cool thing is you could always reset this. So if you think you did it wrong, you just plug it in and don't sit on it. It goes back to normal. Or if you sell the bike and you want to give it to someone else, you can reform it to them as well. Really cool technology. YouTubers in the wild. Jeff Lanowski's a good friend. We were talking frames and hardtails and health, and good friend of mine, really great guy, doing some really great stuff for this community. We're here at Classified. This is one of my favorite products. It's very nerdy. It's a wireless shifter inside the hub. It's a 0.7% underdrive. So instead of an overdrive, you get a 30% easier gear. So you don't need a front derailleur anymore. It does it all inside the hub. So you still got your full range here, but you've also got everything 30% easier as well. I'm intrigued to make a single speed, a double speed that way. Clean lines, just the belts, keep everything totally clean, but still have that 30% easier bailout gear. I think that'd be really interesting. Anyway, you just hit the little button here. It sends the signal down to the hub, and it shifts back and forth between those two, 0.7% or 1-to-1. Really intriguing stuff that they've got going on here. They're actually working on a prototype enduro model that's for e-bikes and enduros that handles even more torque than the road ones. I'm excited to see Classified continue to push the envelope and think outside the box about what's possible. We're here at the Kyoot booth, Kyoot. These are little 20-inch fun bikes. I don't know how to classify them, and I think classifying them would do them a disservice. It's a party bike. It's for adults. It's one size. It fits a whole bunch of people. You could run a dropper if you want to. They've got gears. It's kind of like a geared BMX bar bike. It looks really fun. I'd love to go out and see what 5 of me and my friends could do on one of these things and just have fun with it. I think it'd be a really fun way to show your personality. If you need another bike in the stable, I guarantee you don't have one like this. We're here at Fairdale. Fairdale is the sister company of Odyssey BMX, remember them, and Sunday. And they're bringing the BMX vibe to mountain biking. This is the Elevator. 406 mil chainstay, 463 reach, 50 mil bottom bracket drop, 65.5 degree head angle. Look, this is so cool to see. The seat tube interrupts ahead of the bottom bracket. We're getting nerdy, we do that on Big Brain Party. That allows them to get this industry shortest that I've ever seen hardtail for a 29er, 406 millimeters. You know they have a BMX background when that rear end is so short. You can't even get a lot of 27.5 bikes this short. So what does that mean? It wants to play, it wants a manual, it's gonna be fun goofing around on the trail and having fun. Price is to be determined, but I'm really excited because BMX understands affordable things. We're here at Wheels Manufacturing. They make some really cool stuff in the US. They've got an XD driver single speed kit. They just came out with the Solo Spline. This is for micro spline. And they've got a wider range of their proprietary cogs that work with these. A 16 tooth, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and 23 tooth. The only thing they're missing is a 17, and you can figure out a way around that. Cool different colors, lots of cool in-house ways to accessorize your bike. This is their show bike, showcasing future products. We see a Wheels Manufacturing pedal here, a crank, chain ring. None of these currently exist in their catalog. Their bottom brackets do. I love their bottom brackets. They've got their single speed adapter back here, seat clamp, headsets. They're making it easier for you to spec out your entire frame build with all Wheels Manufacturing stuff, which I think that makes a lot of sense considering they make some of the greatest bottom brackets around. Why not expand that to headsets and more? We're here at Shokz. I have an older model of these and they just came out with a couple new models. These are bone conducting headphones, and so they transfer, your eardrum is actually a bone that vibrates to pick up sounds. These transfer vibrations through your skull, and that's how you hear your music or your phone conversation or your videos. What I like about these is they're still open ear, so if you're on the trail, you can still hear other trail users. Hopefully you don't crank them up so loud that you lose that aspect. You could turn them up that loud. Another thing, not mountain bike related, that I love about these is I'll put earplugs in when I'm operating a grinder or heavy, loud machinery. And what I like about that is I can still listen to my music without massive headphones on. They have two models. They have a few different models here. This is the Open Run Pro, and these are connected. This is very similar to the model that I have. And there's a little wire that goes in there, and you wear it behind your head like that. It's one unit, and they're designed for sports use. The Open Fit right here, coming out of its charging port here, these are unique into each ear. So there's no band that goes across your head. You just wear one on each ear. If you have helmet fitment issues where this band is getting in the way of your helmet, you might prefer the Open Fit. And according to the people at Shokz, the Open Fit has a better acoustic quality to it, so you're gonna get better sound out of the Open Fit. I'm really excited to see nerdy people using bone conducting technology to allow us to still enjoy music, phone conversations, videos. They're Bluetooth, they sync to your phone, they sync to everything. I'm gonna have to see if I could film a review wearing these and use it as my microphone for the review. That'd be really interesting. Anyway, pretty cool technology to help you still be alert and aware on the trail while you're listening to your music. Okay, I've got the Open Fits on. They're not bone conducting like the Open Run Pro is, but these are interesting. They fit inside your ear, but they don't completely block the ear canal, so I can still hear the conversations around me. And the sound quality is so good on these things. I'm excited for you to try them. I'm not affiliated with Shokz. They're not paying me. This video is sponsored by me and all my wonderful patrons, but I like finding the new tech to share with you guys. These sound really, really good. Also, they're water resistant, so you could technically wear them into the shower. If you're sweating a lot on your rides, it's not gonna ruin them at all. I'm so glad that they thought about athletes when they designed this. I'm a musician. Tess and I used to be in a band back in the day. I dare you to find that YouTube video of our music video. But we love great quality music, and these sound fantastic. We're here at Transition, and the Spur, even though it's not brand new, it's still one of the most popular, I don't want to use the word downcountry, low travel trail bike out there. They're just so beautiful, and if you've talked to anyone that's owned one, they absolutely rave about it. I hope to get a chance to ride one of those one day. The Transition Spur just looks zippy and fast and light, but still extremely capable. We're here at SQ Labs, and they focus on ergonomics. And I am super intrigued by this, and I've never actually used any SQ Lab parts, but they've been on my radar for years, and I'm hoping to be able to do some shootouts to try some stuff back and forth. Any part of your body that contacts the bike, saddle, your pelvis or your sit bones, shoes on the pedals or hands on the bars, impacts your body. And we're all about having the least negative impact on your body when riding. We still need to control the bike. We still need to make it do what it needs to do without damage to the body. As a chronic fatigue person, I really pick up on vibrations and discomfort more than ever. So they've done a few different things. They're most known for their saddles. They have many different widths, many different shapes, all to help your pelvis size fit properly on the bike. Next up are the handlebars. They have 3 different back sweep bars, and they go from 9 to 12 to 16 degrees of back sweep. Back sweep changes your elbow position, changes your shoulder tension, it changes your whole upper body in relation to the bike. And the question is, which back sweep is right for you? I don't know yet, but SQ Labs is thinking about these questions and offering different options for people that like different back sweeps. I was picking their brains about the aluminum bar versus the carbon bar, and the carbon bars are supposed to have more flex in them. These are the XC bars, and they're a little bit thinner. The product has to be thinner to flex more, and so you're not going to have a Rampage downhill bar that also flexes nice as a trail bike. So these are meant more for XC, and they're supposedly, according to SQ Labs, 30% more compliant, more flexy than their aluminum counterpart. So I'm excited to try that too. They've also got some interesting stuff going on with the grips, the different contact pads of where your body comes in contact with this. So we're all familiar with these wing grips. A lot of people mention a lot of wrist pain or numbness in the hands when riding. SQ Labs has their wing grip, but they've also got some stuff that's a little bit in between, where you still get a totally flat profile here, like a mini wing, and then it's hard to describe in person. You gotta feel this. There's a little ridge here. If you look at your hands, they don't make a perfect circle when you grab the grip. There's like these little indentations where your knuckles are, and they've got a little ridge to go right inside there, and it just feels like you squeezed a stress ball and let go, and that's what the grip looks like. I'm impressed. Like I said, I don't have any experience using any of SQ Labs stuff, but I really respect the brand, and I think they're thinking about ergonomics beyond marketing. I think they're thinking about ergonomics from an ergonomic standpoint and a health standpoint more than a buzzword that helps sell product. We love all things compliance on Big Brain Party, and this looks very compliant. Look at these floating seat stays, not connected to the seat tube. The idea is that this whole thing, well, I'm guessing this is the idea, is a leaf spring in effect and can give a little bit of flex in the back end. On gravel and on hardtails and on mountain bikes, we don't want to be rattled to death with our fillings coming out of our teeth. So anytime I see something with compliance in mind, I make sure to make note of it. This thing looks really cool. Not sure whose bike this is, but maybe we'll see it one day in person. You guys know KS from their droppers, and they have entered the wireless dropper world. I'm napping. Tap to wake me up. Where do I tap? Anywhere. Whoa! Woo! There we go. That was impressive. That felt a little bit faster than my Axis stuff. Wow, that feels really good. What does the battery look like? Looks like this. Excellent. Excellent integration. With anything electric, you have to have room for the actuator mechanism that's probably pushing a piston and releasing it, doing the same thing that old school droppers do at the bottom. So it takes up a little bit of our stack. So where you could probably fit a 200 mil before, you're gonna lose about 20 mil on most electronic droppers, but that's the price you pay for an electronic dropper. On the good side, usually there's nothing at the bottom really sticking out and protruding that way. So maybe you'll gain your 20 mil back down there. I'm curious. Bravo, KS, this is cool to see. We're here at Velocirax. I got to see these 5 years ago before they hit the market, and I was so thrilled with their awesome product. Velocirax is a vertical bike rack storage system and bike rack. Right here it's in storage mode in your garage. It has hydraulic dampers to ease it down. Even if that's loaded up with 5 to 7 bikes, it's gonna keep you from crushing yourself. And these are super easy to load. Check it out. He's not gonna lift up the bike at all. He's just gonna walk backwards. Same thing with loading. You just walk forwards, roll it into that, and it's on. So super, super easy. This is my bike rack. Another cool thing is the only contact points is the tire. There's no rubbing of your fork. There's no rubbing of your crown. There's no rubbing of anything because the tires and the rims, you put these little elastic straps around the rims. That's the only thing it touches. They've got a 3 carrier, a 4 carrier, a 5, a 5X, which is wide with more space in between them, a 6, and a 7. This is the one that I use, and I have a discount code for you guys in the description below. If you use that code, it supports this channel and it saves you money. So if you're gonna get a Velocirax, consider doing that. They've also got an integrated locking system. I've got that on mine, I really like it. Some other cool things like hitch adapters, fat tire hoops if you're running a big fat tire, floor stands, and then this tilt and pivot 4-bike rack can go on your shop or in your garage to hold all your bikes. So if you don't want to take this off your car and use it in your garage, you could buy the tilt and pivot 4-bike rack there that way. Anyway, really solid products. I have thousands of miles on mine, many different road trips on them, and it's been absolutely flawless. Yeah, so if you need to transport more than 2 or 3 bikes, this is my favorite transport system. This is the new lift damper from MRP. This is an upgrade solution for almost any mid to high tier RockShox or Fox. In the RockShox, it's the Revelation, the Pike, the Yari, the Lyric, the 35 and 38 mil forks, except for the really low end like 35 silver and 35 gold. Those don't work. Those are the only exceptions. But this new lift damper is tuned by MRP. They tune the shim stack to your weight and your aggressiveness and how you're gonna ride this thing. It's user serviceable. It completely replaces your ho-hum damper with a high-end professional damper. It's got low-speed compression on top, low-speed rebound on the bottom, and then the high-speed compression and rebound is adjusted via the shim stack by them in their factory. It's also user serviceable, so if you do want to get crazy and mess with the shim stack yourself, you're welcome to. It's easy to use with regular parts. That's really exciting to be able to update. You know, maybe you got a budget bike that had a Select fork or a Pike Select Plus, and you wish it were an Ultimate or even better. Well, now you can just upgrade the damper and keep the other side of the fork totally stock and have a totally new feeling fork. Over here, they've also got a few updates to their air spring. They've totally revamped the air spring on the Ribbon LT and the Ribbon SL. It's a little bit less friction, so it moves a little bit easier. I'm really interested in the Ribbon SL because most of the bikes I ride that I prefer are in the 120 to 130 mil range. My buddy Nick Neuhaus is running these on a lot of his builds, and he's like, you gotta try the Ribbon SL. So I'm curious to try that in the future. It's a beautiful looking fork, and Noah really knows his stuff. We're gonna get nerdy with him one of these days and learn all about spring curves and shim stacks and all the nerdy stuff that's going on in here that we've heard the terms but don't quite know what they mean. I'd be curious if you guys are interested in learning more about that. Let me know in the comments below. And they've been doing the Cerakote upgrades for a while, but if you really want to bling out your bike and get a different finish on your fork, they've got a lot of different cool colors to make your bike really unique. As always, it's exciting to see MRP pushing the envelope and trying new things and trying to improve their product day after day after day. Really respect the guys at MRP and what they do. And these are all made in the US by really passionate mountain bikers. Here we are at Prevelo. They make the bike that my daughter rides, and I'm pretty picky about my bikes, you know. Now, a lot of kids' bikes weigh more than the actual kid weighs. Imagine riding a 150-pound bicycle. Prevelo's working really hard to have a high-quality, lightweight kid's bicycle that still doesn't break the bank, and I think they've really succeeded with that. I've got a video over on my Hardtail Party channel where I compare 3 different sizes to 3 different kids in my neighborhood. So if you're curious which size would fit your kid the best, go watch that video. It'll kind of show you each kid on each side. You don't want to upsize too much. I know none of us want to be buying bikes for our kids every 6 months, but one of the worst things you can do to discourage your kid from riding is getting them a bike that's way too big. When I started riding, my parents bought a bike that was 2 years too big for me, and I was too scared to ride it for 2 years until it finally fit me, and by then all my friends were already riding and I felt like the odd man out. Now, Prevelo is also selling frame only, so if you want to get crazy and build a dream bike for your little shredder in your life, you can do that. They also sell the wheel sets, so whether you want micro spline or you want XD, you can buy their specific wheel set, because it's hard to find great kids wheel sets that are decent. Anyway, it's really cool that they've got this option, so you can either buy it complete like this, build a frame up, use their wheels, or not. I'm so excited to see the dream builds that are going to come out of this. I love to see what Prevelo's doing here, and they just keep innovating and keep making these bikes lighter and higher performance so your little ones can enjoy the trail as much as you do. So Prevelo has the little ones covered with the Zulu line, with the lightweight mountain bikes there. They've just released a sister company, Eagle Bear, for the parents. This is their first model. It's called the Black. It's a 700C flat bar gravel cruiser dad bike. It comes in at $1,300. It's got a carbon fork, Dior 12 speed, 180 points of engagement hub in there, aluminum frame. You got dual water bottle mounts. You can even run some tools or some bags up there. It's very versatile. You could even order it with mountain bike tires if you'd rather go 29, but it's cool to see what people are going to do with this. It might be the right bike for riding down to the park with your kids, or hitting a little bit of buff single track, or putting in the miles on the road as well. Super versatile bike. I like flat bar gravel bikes a little more than drop bars. Drop bars to me are a little bit uncomfortable. I haven't really mastered the drop bar technique, so something like this would appeal more to me if I was commuting or trying to get a lot of miles in and not wanting to be aero and performance oriented and just be a little more relaxed. Cool to see this coming out of the same company as Prevelo. We're here at UBI, United Bicycle Institute. Think of them as college for bike mechanics. It's not really a college, but they have certification programs, week-long programs, 2-week-long programs. They have in-depth, like, Fox Suspension Master Technician certifications. So whether you work at a bike shop and your shop's looking to level up your skills, your shop might send you here and might pay for your training for you to come back with all this new knowledge. Or maybe you're interested in getting into the mountain bike industry and you want to approach bike shops with some credentials. UBI, based in Ashland, Oregon, has all sorts of courses and classes for you to educate yourself on bicycle repair, bicycle mechanics, suspension designs, wheel building, all sorts of things like that. So if you want to level up and be a little bit more competitive in the marketplace, check them out. Here we are at Sage. They always have some bling beautiful bikes. Look at this dirt jumper. This thing is so cool. Eddie Van Halen bike. That thing is so cool. Boy, Sage knows how to bring a bike together, don't they? Look at that. That is absolutely flawless. Let's go drool over a couple more bikes in here. I remember this power line from last year. Fantastic. This is the Optimator. This is the XC Race titanium bike from Sage. Got a 68-degree head angle. Not everything needs to be super slack. And some people still miss the good old days when bikes were a little bit twitchy, and maybe not twitchy, but responsive, dare we say, and fun at slower speeds and fun in tight, twisty stuff. I think a lot of us have enjoyed the slackness lately for rowdy stuff, but we've forgotten that it's taken us a little bit away from the fun of most of the trails near us. That's why I designed the bike that I just designed and released at this show, is to remind us that what we're now calling boring trails are actually fun if you're on the right bike. And I think a bike like the Optimator can help you reconnect with the trails that you thought were boring and humdrum and make them exciting again. Really cool to see Sage still capturing the heart of those of us that are a little bit old school and don't want everything slacker, slacker, slacker. This is the Flow Motion, the Rowdy Hardtail, 29x26 with a 64-degree head angle. They've got 3D printed yokes here and dropouts. That allows them to keep a 430mm chainstay and still fit that 2.6 in there. Absolutely beautiful combination of Cerakote and titanium and blasting and polish. Beautiful. So Sage's 3D printed parts are 3D printed in the US as well. They sourced US titanium tubing and they are welded and totally made in the US. Really cool to see that. We're here at the Capsuled booth and they make bike packing bags. This is the Peek series, P-E-E-K, so you can peek inside and see what's in there. I really like these windows to remind you where you packed your stuff. Sounds like a first world problem and a little thing, but to me, unless I go bike packing like every single weekend for a while, I forget where I've stashed everything, and it's a small thing, but it's a big brain thing at the same time. I've always wondered why on e-bikes we spend so much money on a carbon frame, and I don't really know why. I think carbon prices have got to have come down, but it's refreshing to see Salsa using aluminum on their e-bikes. I think maybe it's the internal routing, and with carbon you can control the shape and the look and the internal tube and tube sort of thing. But I don't know, if I got a motor and it's helping me out, I don't feel like I need the bike to be a half a pound lighter because it's carbon instead of aluminum. I haven't given this a whole bunch of thought, but I'm just like, man, why don't we knock the price down $1,000 by having more metal bikes? It just seems to make more sense to me. What do you think about the issue? Would you rather have a carbon e-bike, or are you okay with aluminum on your e-bike? Let me know. We're here at Hydrapack. Hydrapack makes bladder systems for a lot of my favorite bags, but here at the show they're introducing the Breakaway bottle filtration system. When we go bike packing, especially in Arizona, we hardly ever have potable water. So we're scooping out of cow tanks, we're scooping out of rivers, lakes, streams, and this is a really cool option here. You unscrew the lid, and this is your dirty side. You scoop up your water in here. This has your dirty water, and this is your filtration element. Screw it back on. You want to pop it open, and once it's opened, it will start to flow filtered water. You can use the squeezing motion to force the water through the filter. I guess you could suck on it really hard like a live straw, but I've always preferred squeezing filtration out of there. This is really intriguing to me. Currently, I carry a separate bag and filter, and then filter those into my water bottle. I like the idea of having it in here. And if you have one of these on your bike, you don't need 7 of these. You can have a whole bunch of empty water bottles and use this to filter into those other water bottles. I also love that it's 900 milliliters. This is really got a lot of volume in it. In Arizona, we don't have water sources very often, so the bigger the water bottle, the better. These are really cool. I'm hoping to try these out on my next bike packing trip. I'll let you know what I think. Here we are at Better Bolts. And Better Bolts is one of those ways to not spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars on the latest upgrade and just add a little bit here and there to make your bike special. They specialize in hardware. New bolts, they can be titanium, they can be different colors, and just give your bike a little bit of bling. Sometimes you're not ready to drop a couple $100s to upgrade your bike, and you just want small little things to make it special, make it unique. I think that's where Better Bolts comes in. I've never used their products. I've seen them on a lot of industry bike builds, and I'm interested in building a bike with them one day. How about you? Have you ever used Better Bolts? Which bolts are your favorite, or which bolts would you want to upgrade most? Let me know in the comments. Look at this beauty. Love it. Good thing it's not my size or we'd be in trouble.
Hey, I'm Nick Neuhaus, Neuhaus Metalworks. We're here at the 5Dev booth at the Otter Classic, and this weekend we're showing off our brand new model, the HBSL. The HBSL is a titanium bike. It's geared towards light trail use, cross-country use, and we really feel that, you know, for riders looking for kind of that, you know, mountainy gravel bike, this is a fantastic option. It's made with butted titanium tubing. It'll come with a fixed dropout design around a 110 millimeter fork. Color options will be Cerakote, and you can match them to MRP's Shred Coat on the Ribbon SL. So this frame will be priced at $3,000, handmade in the USA, right in Marin County. In terms of where it fits in our lineup, right, it's just kind of for that rider that wants a little bit more than our Epion gravel bike, but doesn't really want the aggressive nature of our Solstice, our Hummingbird, or our Hummingbird Tie.
Here we are at Gulo. You know we love Gulo Wheels on the channel. They run carbon fiber spokes on their wheels, which makes for not only an ultra light wheel, but a smooth wheel. It's vibration absorbing spoke. So according to their tests, it's 7% more vibration damping than a steel spoke. And 7% doesn't sound like not much, but that's enough that the average rider is going to feel the difference. These things are insanely light. I've been hammering on them on my hardtails and my full suspensions, and they've actually got a prototype wheel over here I want to show you. They're always trying new things. This isn't ready yet, and it'll probably be different when we do see it. But this is ridiculously light, still 24 hole. Nice wide rim like we like. This is probably going to be more for XC, very light trail type use, and that's where we love to live on a lot of our hardtails. But this thing is ridiculously light, and they're still using the awesome aluminum nipples, and their spokes made in North Carolina. Look at this external bead. I really like that. It's a hookless rim and a nice wide bead, but it gets the width on the outside. Really interesting. Featherweight. Really cool to see what happens and if this turns into a real product in the future. We're here at Print My Climb, and they take your GPS data from your route or your favorite ride, and they 3D print it and create a little map. These could be trophies or they could be accomplishments. I've ridden the Kokopelli Trail. It's really fun to see in this format. What a cool way to memorialize your ride that meant so much to you and turn it into a little conversation piece and a fun little memento of your awesome trail. This is so cool. I want one of the Arizona Trail. I think that'd be a lot of fun when I complete that. And then they can engrave the bottom if you have a special message you want to put in there. We're here at Tanri, and they make sun protection. You've seen me riding in my sun hoodie all the time. I wear this so I don't get skin cancer. I've got some family members with skin cancer right now, and we don't think about it when we're young. We think about it after we get the cancer, so I'm trying to prevent that. And so is Tanri. Tanri is run by some trail runners, and they spend a lot of time in the sun like us. They've got an aerosol and a lotion sunblock as well as these active wipes for wiping down after your ride or your run or your outdoor experience. I think we got a long way to go in this industry in thinking about sun protection. I know it's not very sexy or exciting to talk about, but neither is cancer. Let's stay alive and be able to enjoy our sport outdoors a little bit longer. We're here at Digit Bikes, and they just released this brand new model, the Ring. It's a really cool bike. It's a 29er. Digit is known for integrating their strut into the top tube. This is the shock right here, and it comes all the way up here where you've got your airport and your compression damping. You can actually remove it from the frame. This little bottom bracket tool, unthread that, and the whole thing will slide out. What's really interesting to me is how they've used the spindle of the crank as a pivot point for the suspension, so it actually rides on bearings that are sitting on the crank spindle. Really cool idea. It's simple, it's elegant, and I think it's beautiful. Really thinking outside the box. I think it's really a big brain idea what's going on here with Digit Bike. Rock crawling and overlanding and exploring and camping in vehicles is another passion of mine. We don't see it much on the channel, sometimes with my RC stuff. Trepadors, they were always my favorite rock crawling tire. Hold a special place in my heart. They've got an Ultra 4 buggy here we're gonna go check out real quick. So beefy. 42 by 14. How's that for an air filter? My goodness. We're here at the Elite Wheels booth. They make extremely affordable carbon lightweight wheels. This is the Trail Gnar PR. It comes in under 1,600 grams, super high engagement, 320 points of engagement, bladed Supeme spokes, beautiful, beautiful wheels, 30i. And these come in well under $1,000, especially if you use my discount code that's in the link below. We're here at the Onyx booth. They make my favorite hubs. I run the Classic. It's a little heavier than the Vesper, but I really, really like it. It's purely silent, true instant engagement, a nice soft engagement. And what a lot of people don't realize that haven't run these before is how your shifting performance improves. It sounds crazy, but not having a clunky ratchet in there when you're shifting and initiating between coasting and drive, it actually makes for a smoother drivetrain and shifting experience. I've also experienced faster, I guess, keeping my momentum better. Something about these hubs, I hold my momentum longer and I don't have to sneak in pedals as much. It sounds crazy. I'm not sponsored by Onyx. I have nothing to do with them other than I love their products. They've also got a wider range of their hook flange. Lace these up with the BERD spokes. The hook flange is going to be available in more of their hubs as well, so I'm really excited about that. Made in the US, beautiful colors, a lot of cool stuff going on here. We're here in the BERD booth and they've just released a brand new spoke that's 50% thicker. The reason they did this is because they wanted to be able to create a stiffer wheel that still had the characteristics of their traditional spokes, or non-traditional spokes, I should say. They're traditional for BERD, but not for the rest of us. These spokes are made out of the same material that sailboat sails are made out of. They're extremely strong, that they're extremely light. It's strong in a tension fitting. So they were finding that on the regular Hawk 30 wheel, people that were like racing slalom or doing some high gravity, high speed, high G out things, were getting some more flex out of the wheel than they wanted. So they've created the Hawk 30X wheel with these new X spokes that are 50% thicker, 44% stiffer sideways. So if you still want a super light wheel but that's a lot stiffer than the traditional Hawk 30, this is your answer, the Hawk 30X. BERD's rims are made by We Are One. They're unique to BERD, and they're actually different rim layups and stiffness between the traditional Hawk 30 and the 30X. So basically, this is a beefed up version of this. They're still using hook flanges. They've got a little bit bigger flange on this one. I'm glad to see them innovating and trying new things and having more options for people who want different ride characteristics out of their wheels. We're here at the Turner booth checking out the DeWolf Cruiser. This thing has stolen my heart. I fell in love with the Turner Nitrous last year when I reviewed it over on Hardtail Party. Beautiful, beautiful bike. The DeWolf, look at this twin top tube. Kind of old school clunker style, sliding dropouts. Very similar geo to the Nitrous, but it's got a taller stack. I think this thing is absolutely beautiful. Plus it'll fit a 29 by 2.8, which I love to see. Look at that. That's Sedona clearance right there. Absolutely stunning titanium frame from David Turner. We've even got a belt drive split here. If you wanted to run it belt drive single speed, what a stunner. When you look at a Venn diagram and there's two circles and they overlap and you find that sweet spot where you get both characteristics, that was the idea behind the Venn. It's the do everything bike packing all-terrain bike, ATB. It's designed for a 120mm fork. You can run a rigid suspension corrected fork like this. It's got sliding dropouts which allow you to run up to a 29 by 3.0 tire. We love seeing that. I think that tire size needs to stay relevant, and I love seeing frame builders build around that. Fully external cable routing, but this is meant to just put down miles and miles and miles. When talking to Dave, he said, this is the bike for the people that 25 years ago they had a tie frame, and they don't need the slackest and the rowdiest and the raciest bike, and they want to modernize their old tie bike. I think this is going to fit them really well. It doesn't require modern riding position where you have to get over the front and really weight the front and lean on the corners. It's more of a chill bike, Sunday afternoon cruise. If your riding style is more relaxed and exploratory, I think something like this geometry would suit it better than something like the sporty nitrous. Over here we've got the Gila. This one has stolen my heart, dude. David Turner makes absolutely fantastic bikes, and he pays attention to the tiny, tiny details more than any other manufacturer I've ever come across. He does little things that I do on my signature bikes as well. Like he stands off these seat post water bottle mounts so they don't protrude into the seat posts and they don't get in the way of this dropper in there. He's got 3D printed inserts in here. A new 3D printed yoke here means he can keep it super stiff. This is optimized for single speed. So it does have a UDH, has sliding dropouts. You could run transmission or axis on here if you wanted to, but you'll notice there's no cable guides anywhere because it's a single speed bike and it's really optimized for single speed. We got a belt brake right here where you can unbolt that and split that apart to get your belt in. Slide your dropouts back and forth. Very, very similar to the nitrous geometry. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if this did replace the nitrous one day in popularity. Since most people buying tie frames are running wireless drivetrains, this one doesn't have cable guides. You can still order the Turner Nitrous if you want internal cable routing and you want to be able to run cables to your derailleur, just not the Gila. Absolutely stunning, stunning bike. I'm glad to see people still taking single speeding seriously. There's something magical and fun about a lightweight, modern single speed. It just connects you with the trail in a way that nothing else does. As always, I'm blown away by the stuff that David Turner's creating, and every year he has something new and something exciting that just makes me thrilled to be in the bike industry. Turner is still as relevant as ever, and they're keeping mountain biking exciting, and it says a lot when I can walk into a booth and be excited about 3 or 4 of their models. There's some really cool stuff going on here. David Turner's a big brain, and he is a mad scientist doing really, really cool things. Case in point, these internal cable routings, he's reliefed them on the inside so they don't have any sharp edges when the cable comes out. That sounds like that'd be obvious and everyone's doing that. Everyone's not doing that. It takes extra attention to detail to pay attention to those little things and to demand that from the manufacturer. And I just find that Turner is really paying attention to the tiny, tiny details. He's one of the few that obsesses about every single detail of the bike. Super thrilled for this Gila. Which one's my favorite between the Gila and the DeWolf? I don't know. It's a toss-up. It would depend on the day. Here we are at Paul Components in Chico, California. They still make my all-time favorite brakes, the Paul Clamper. You hear me talk about these all the time, and people don't get it until they try them. They're heavier, they're more expensive, they're not hydraulic. I don't care. What I love about the Paul Clampers, well, there's several things. One, in 30 years, I'm still going to be able to work on this and service it if it even needed it. These things are super, super robust. They use a wide variety of pads. What I like most with a cable actuated brake that's good, like the Clamper, is I can adjust my lever throw. With the set screw on your lever, you can position it so it rests at a not too far away position. Some of us have small fingers and don't want to reach all the way up there. So we can push in this set screw and it will hold it open where we want. And then the next adjustment we can do is make the brake bite where we want it to in the stroke. Some hydraulic brakes have tried to do that rather unsuccessfully, but what I love about these brakes is I can dial them in so that the lever lands on my finger right where I want, and I can either make it really touchy or I can make it bite exactly where I want to in the stroke. It sounds like such a small thing, but if you're OCD about your bike and you really want to be able to control that, the Paul Clamper is my favorite brake to do that. It's also extremely powerful. A lot of people have a hard time believing that a cable brake can keep up with modern hydraulic brakes. There's no trail that I would say, oh, I'm not gonna ride that trail because I brought my clampers today. It is absolutely as high performance as the hydraulic brakes for me. It does have a tiny bit more lever feel in it. You have to pull the lever a little bit harder, but it's not to the point where I'm fatigued on it at all. So on all my signature bikes, you'll see I'm always running Paul Clampers. I still run them on my full suspension sometimes. I especially like them on my hardtails, my bike packing bikes, because I like to fiddle and I like to make it always feeling just right. Now, one little hack that I do on my cantilevers is I replace this set screw with a longer one. Because I do have such short fingers, I have to run it in quite a bit. And when I run it in too much, there aren't quite enough threads in the body, and they will actually back themselves out rattling down the trail. So I've just replaced those with the longer grub screw in there, and it solved all of those problems for me, and they don't back themselves off even on the rowdiest trails. Paul makes all these things in Chico, California, made in the US. They've been doing this for decades. They have an incredible reputation, and you can see why. They also make my favorite dropper lever. There's just something about the ergonomics of this and just the function. It just feels like home. I don't know how else to describe it when it's on your bars, and it's just everywhere that it needs to be, and it's made of metal. It's a simple thing that brings joy to me when building bikes. Here we are at the JULBO booth. JULBO is a partner of mine, and I ride their eyewear exclusively. These are their lifestyle glasses. This is the street, and this is the slack. I'm trying to showcase this. Let's see if we can see the difference.
They have rubber on the temples.
It doesn't work with the GoPro. The optics are ridiculous, and it's almost like wearing an ND filter on your eyes. Everything just pops a little more. The optics are super sharp, and the colors are super vibrant. And here they've got the Forest Evo helmet on display. This is my main helmet. It's MIPS. It's got really great airflow. I ride the white ones because I live in Arizona and I don't want a ton of heat attracted to my head. And they fit really well with glasses as well, and they fit really well on my head. I think the most important thing about helmets these days, as long as it's got the basic safety features, is to find something that fits your head well and doesn't have any weird pressure points. The Force Evo fits my head really well. I hope you get a chance to try one on at one of these events so you can see if it fits your head well. Anyway, super picky with helmets, and I really like the Force Evo. I love JULBO Eyewear. I can choose from a whole bunch of different eyewear companies that I partner with, and I choose JULBO. They make my favorite product. And they've got some cool lifestyle stuff coming out, some cool performance stuff. If you want an incredible deal on JULBO stuff, 30% off, I've got a code in the description below to help you get that discount code. Super cool of them to partner with us to allow you guys to get a discount and help support the channel at the same time. We're here at Old Man Mountain. They make unique racks for carrying things on your bike. This is their latest product, the Axle Pack. You work with them to get the right axle for your fork. They're also Robert Axle Project, which you've seen for trailers and all sorts of different axle ideas to mount things to your bike. And they can replace your axle with one that is compatible with this, which allows you to run a 5-pack, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on your fork, including suspension forks. They just can't be upside down forks, obviously, but that allows you to lash all sorts of things to your forks. I really like this integration. Super heavy duty zip ties here. They got a little puck system here to bolt it on. A lot of times you're fighting with either rubbing the paint off and destroying your bike and, you know, putting hose clamps on there to hold something on, but this is such a sleek integration. I think forks are a great place to carry weight on your bike. A lot of times we load the back up a ton and the bike doesn't handle quite as good. I think being able to distribute it between front and back really gives it a nice balance. They've still got their pizza rack and their basket. You could mount water bottles on here. You could mount saddlebags. They've got a couple bags that they sell as well as these panniers that work with their rack as well. Panniers have become my favorite bike packing setup as well. It's not really popular yet because I don't know why, I don't think people have tried it yet, but I've gotten away from the seat tube bag, and because I still like to use my dropper on rides, and switch to pannier setups. And if they're robust and your bike rack is robust, like an Old Man Mountain rack that's not going to rattle its way down the trail, I think you'll be surprised at how much you like carrying things on the back of your bike. Anyway, I love to see them constantly innovating. And as a nerd myself and seeing other nerds who are thinking about redoing axles and making them wider so that you can mount more things, this really appeals to me. So here's a pizza rack on front with a water bottle cage on here. You could run bags on there, a top tube bag as well. Oh, So whether you have a full suspension, hardtail, e-bike, gravel bike, however you carry stuff, there's a good chance that their axle will work with your bike, one of their axles, and you can convert it to carrying things like this. And they're meant for actual off-road use. They're meant to be rugged. They're meant to withstand the abuses you're gonna take it through, which is always refreshing. Most other racks are like Target, Walmart style racks for like carrying your lunch to work. So it's really refreshing to see someone take racks seriously. I've been trying to find some of these bright racing shocks in person. Man, pictures do not do these justice. These are stunning. Upside down fork. Really curious how those ride. They're beautiful. I finally spotted a Ministry in person. I've been wanting to see these. I've been following him on Instagram. Such a nice guy. This is the sharpest looking bike of the show to me. Look at this. It's been so fun to watch his problem solving, and what a beautiful creation. Oh, cool. I think this one's bonded. I can't remember. Absolutely stunning execution. So far, that's my favorite bike of the show. And I have a signature bike here. That's pretty amazing.
The 747 they strapped that vehicle.
How about that brake? Look at that.
Here we go. Thank you.
World's largest brake pad. Your brake rotors aren't big enough till they're 4 feet tall. Oh, so cool.
That was one that I really wanted to work out, but they just, yeah.
It's amazing how many new companies there are here. There are so many people entering the mountain bike world. Even bike manufacturers. There's probably 20 bike manufacturers here I've never heard of. And it's never been easier to go send your drawings and your dream specs off to a company in China, and they make it for you, and it comes back labeled as your bike company. So you can start a bike company. It's a lot harder than it sounds, but we're seeing a lot of people entering this market, not just for little accessories, but bikes as well. We're here at Party Shirt International. They make some of my favorite shirts. They've got some really cool new designs. And I just spotted a new sun hoodie. I'm a big fan of that. It's so funny, 5 years ago, everyone's like, you look like a dork. Why do you wear a hoodie everywhere you ride?
What's up, dude?
How you doing?
Yeah, so good. Good to check you down
these
here.
out.
New sun hoodies, man.
Dude,
That's
I'm
what it's
a
all
fan.
about. Keeps the sun off and the stoke in.
Right on. We're here at the Lezyne booth checking out the tubeless Pro plugs. These are awesome. So many times we'll get a puncture on the trail and then we'll use our bacon strips to get home. And then sometimes we forget and we leave them in there and then they pop out at the most inopportune time. Well, the idea with the tubeless Pro plugs is to permanently fix your tire. These go from the inside out. So you remove your plugs, clean it all up, pull your tire off. This has a little knurled tip so you can kind of pull it through. This little pigtail is all rubber. So you put your rubber adhesive on there, pull it through, let it dry, and then clip it off. That'll let you save $100 for not having to buy a new tire right away and be able to get some more life out of that. I've had good success with regular patching from the inside out, but I'm really excited about this solution. It makes it a little bit more simple, and I like that you can pull on it from the outside and get this to form on the inside. I'm excited to try these and let you know what I think about them. We saw this last year at Otter. This is the Pocket Drive HV. HV stands for high volume. In road bikes, you want high pressure. In mountain bikes, you want high volume. You need to fill big tires fast, but we don't need more than 30 PSI. So something like this, super, super compact. I'd rather have a compact pump and do a few extra strokes to get it up to pressure than have a big pump, because usually when I'm using a pump, I'm only adding a few PSI to my pressure. I'm not totally seating a bead. So for me, I like the smallest high volume pump I can find. And so far, my favorite pump that I've found that meets those needs is the Lezyne Pocket Drive HV. We're here at Continental checking out Nico Mulali's sweet new Frameworks frame. Nico is the biggest of brains, and he couldn't find what he wanted in the industry, so he used his big brain to make his own bike company with the kinesmatics that he wanted, the stiffness that he wanted. He is the king of getting experimental and trying different things, and this is his latest product. This one is bonded together. The tubes are glued to these lugs. Very, very interesting. Nico's a really rad guy. He loves experimenting and pushing the envelope and not just taking things at face value. He will test things back to back to back to back more than anyone I know. He's a huge inspiration, and it's so fun to see his bike here. We're here at the Microshift booth. You know I'm a huge fan of Advent X, the 10-speed wide-range drivetrain for mountain bikes. Well, they just released the Sword. It's a 10-speed wide-range gravel group set. Really cool to see more affordable drivetrains with excellent performance. I would put the performance of Microshift Advent X up there with like Dior 12-speed, SLX 12-speed at a much more approachable price for me. Anyway, I'm a big fan of it. I love seeing it on OEMs. I love seeing it on brand new bikes. I love using it on my own bikes. It's a great way to save money on your bike build, so you could put a little extra into your fork or a little extra into your brakes. I think drivetrains are the one place that people spend way too much money for negligible performance. The difference between like XT and Microshift is very, very small, but the price difference is very, very large. Anyway, I love seeing what they're doing, and it's cool to see them in the gravel market as well. Ibis has a really cool approach to cutting your bar width without destroying your bars. These carbon bars have a threaded insert in the end that are aluminum, and you trim the aluminum down to the width you want, and then you never trim the carbon. That means no carbon dust. That means you probably won't get cancer from cutting your bars. It also means you can just replace the end plugs if you ever did want to experiment and go wider, or sell the bike to someone with a bigger wingspan. Look forward. We're here with one of the chief nerds on site, and that's saying something because there's a lot of nerds here. This is Tom from Outbound Lighting. He is going to walk us through the nerdy, big brain stuff that they're thinking about lights that never even cross.
All right, so we're going to walk through a new product that's been kind of a manufacturing nightmare to get to this point because we're trying some things that are new, different, and quite difficult to do. So this is our new Portal. Portal has a bunch of hard parts and electronics involved. The main body, the main heat sink of the light is a thermally conductive polymer, which we use because we can maintain excellent surface finishes and tolerances without coatings of any kind. And then we're using a rubberized overmold on the shell for a soft touch and abrasion resistance, impact resistance, all of that. On that shell we have a replaceable mount piece where we can use a GoPro mount, or we can use our standard quick release handlebar mount interface, since this light can flex from the bars to the helmet with the beam pattern we designed for it. Our batteries, we actually made this tray with the spot welding tabs co-molded into the tray. So we basically have a Gatling gun style approach of a row of these where we pop the batteries in, put them in a tool, the tool spot welds both sides, kicks it down the line, and then we can line this up in the shell. It pops in, the plastic frame will thermally isolate the battery from the heatsink so we can keep the cell as warm as possible for cold weather riding. The PCB assembly here is invisible, but I will angle it through and we'll solder down to these two battery contacts with an automated soldering machine that comes in, pops those, and then the optic actually snaps in from the front where we have slides and hooks so that we have a seal interface that is uninterrupted all the way around the entire face. So one piece sealing with one piece continuously, and then the top shell can do the same thing. So this spar here allows us to have a continuous seal channel, which we have overmolded, co-molded into the shell here, so that we don't have to have a loose O-ring or RTV silicone. It's all one piece that just pops in. And then we have co-locating posts in the top shell that mechanically interlock with the lower shell, so that further helps pull the optic against the shell for better sealing. And then that all pops together with additional hook and loop snaps so that mechanically it's held down all the way around the shell instead of just at a couple of points. So this should be a pretty robust light by the time we're done with it.
So you can see why Outbound Lighting is so popular. They obsess over the tiny little details. The electronics are put together in Arizona and then shipped to Michigan, where this whole thing is built in the USA. Really awesome products. I use Outbound Lights exclusively and I'm extremely thrilled with them. I'm not associated with them. This video is not sponsored by them. It's just a product that I really believe in, and every time I see them, they're thinking about another nerdy thing that they can do better. This Landyachts caught my eye. This bike is handmade in Vancouver, Canada. This is a rowdy one. This is a 64-degree head angle. It's got a 490 reach on a size large, 58 mil bottom bracket drops, 435 chain stay, 420 seat tube. That's a really short seat tube for a size large. That means you can run massive droppers. We love that. Fork, of course, you can up fork it a little bit or under fork it a little bit, but it was meant for a 150. They also make a more trail-oriented hardtail. They also make them out of steel. They also have a gravel bike and an all-road bike. But what's so cool about this, they're made to order, so you're not gonna just buy one that's sitting in a warehouse. They customize the size and the fit to your body dimensions. So you send them all this info and they make sure that it fits you when they build it. We're here at MucOff and they have some brand new big bore valves. There are 3 different valves. We've got the standard, which is press to size on top, press to on bottom. The hybrid, which is Schrader on top, but pressed on bottom. So you run this through a press to rim, but you get the Schrader adapter. And then this is the Ludicrous, that's just Schrader. What's unique about these is they have a ball valve in here, like your favorite plumbing. And they're completely coreless, so they fill up faster and they don't clog as much. The tops are all interchangeable. This is nerdy stuff. So I can unscrew all 3 of these and you could swap between the Presta, Hybrid, or Ludicrous. And if you want to let some pressure out of your tire, instead of a traditional Presta where you're pushing on the actual skinny little valve in there, you just crack the ball valve a little bit to get your pressure. So the idea is they're easy to clean, they're easy to take apart, they don't clog. You get them in 6 different colors. Another cool thing, the cap acts as a secondary seal. There's a little rubber seal inside of here. So in the weird case that you got sealing in here and the ball valve's just acting up a little bit, you can still treat it like a Schrader. Most of us don't know this, but Schraders actually are the primary sealing mechanism, the rubber cap on there. So now it's sealed here as well as at the ball valve. And if you have a hard time twisting these when they get sealant in them, they got flats on the side, so you could just put your Knipex pliers on there or anything like this, and you can use the wrench to manually force that open. Really interesting take on high flow valves. This is the big bore valve from MucOff. One more cool thing here at MucOff is this air tag holder that clips onto your valve stem. It's flexible, so if you do hit a rim strike or something on that, it's not going to break it. It seals your little air tag in there so that the sealant's not going to mess with it. What a cool place to put your air tag. There's no way thieves are looking inside your tire to find the air tag. I love seeing creative, innovative things like that. I never would have guessed I would have seen this. So bravo MucOff for thinking outside the box and using your big brain. With my current chronic medical condition, I'm not able to ride as much as I'd like, and I'm looking for a way to still ride and get out there. E-bikes promise to be that solution, but in the past they haven't been. They still wear me out big time. They're heavy, especially downhills or like lifting it over things. I definitely have to scale back and ride mellower trails, but to be honest, I haven't ridden a lightweight EMTB. Everyone's telling me the Shuttle SL is the one to try. I think it's got the lightweight, it's got the Fazua motor, a little bit lower power. When I ride e-bikes, I'm never on the like full-on turbo mode because I'm not just trying to fly up the hill as fast as possible. I'm actually trying to recreate what a regular non-pedal assist bike feels like before I was sick. And to me, that just needs a little bit of help. It helps me go a little bit longer, or when my energy's low, it helps me get home. And I think something like a Shuttle SL, a Heckler SL, Nebo, Levo SL, I think that genre of lightweight e-bikes is going to appeal more to me. I just feel like some of the full power ones, I'm just muscling a bigger bike around, which most people won't have a problem with. But with chronic fatigue, every little bit counts. I've got a long history riding dirt bikes, and you think, oh, dirt bikes, it's got a motor, it's gonna be so easy. Dirt biking is exhausting on trails, and it's a lot picking it up and moving it around and kick-starting it, it wears you out. And I feel like super heavy, high power e-bikes drain me more than I thought they would. You'd think big motor, big battery, you could just go all day and chill. That hasn't been my experience. Maybe I need to retune my brain, and maybe I need to stop trying to ride stuff like I used to before I was sick. But it's definitely not the quick fix that a lot of people, including myself, thought it was going to be. So I need to explore the pedal assist market a little bit more And right now what's intriguing me the most are lightweight bikes like this Shuttle SL. This bike comes in close to 40 pounds, which is really impressive. You know, a lot of full suspension bikes are pushing 33, 34, 36, 37 pounds. This isn't a whole lot more than that, and it gives you a little assistance. I hope to be able to get to throw a leg over a Shuttle SL one of these days. We're here at the Yamaha booth, and the dirt bike industry is moving into the mountain bike world. Yamaha makes this e-bike. It is the YDX Moro 07, and they're thinking about it differently than a lot of other bike companies. This isn't an SL e-bike. It's not super, super light. But what Yamaha's looked at this is weight distribution. A lot of times we talk about how important it is to get the weight down low on our bikes. Yamaha's taking a different approach. A lot of these e-bikes with these huge batteries and huge motors are less than playful. It's harder to get them into a manual, harder to like lift them up ledges. It just takes a Herculean effort to get the front wheel off the ground. So what Yamaha's done here is they've split the frame like a moto, which is not surprising considering their background. They split the top tube for the shock up here, and they split the down tube. And then they've got the battery in the center of that sandwiched in there, and you'll notice the front triangle's super small. You're not gonna fit a water bottle in here, and that was intentional to keep it small so that you could get the weight up and towards the center of the bike more so you can throw it around a little more, in theory. Same thing with the motor. You'll notice the motor's been rotated up so it doesn't feel like a big boat anchor in the front holding the front down. I'd like to think that maybe Brian Lopes had a little bit of influence there. Who knows? But he's got the world's most BMX slalom playful background around in his riding. And I'm excited to see other industries coming into the mountain bike world and disrupting it a little bit and talking about new ways to do things in ways that bikes aren't thinking about it. I hope to be able to get out on a demo event one of these days so I can try one of these and see if I need a lightweight e-bike to not get exhausted or if I just need the weight distribution to be different. Maybe that's all I need more than a lightweight e-bike. Anyway, it's really interesting to see people attacking the same problem from different viewpoints. Here we've got another moto influence entering into the e-bike market. This is the GasGas MXC5. It's a carbon frame. It's got a mixed wheel setup. This is not the most aggressive one, and it's plenty aggressive. Super high output motor, big battery. What intrigues me most about this bike is they've taken their motocross winning damper and worked with DVO to put it into this bike. There are only 2 models that have this cone valve technology, and inside both the shock and the fork, they're running a cone valve instead of a shim stack for the high speed compression. Gets a little bit better, smoother bottom out resistance, but it's really exciting to see moto influence in the mountain bike world and take the winning technology over there to see if it makes a difference in our everyday riding. Hope to be able to throw a leg over one of these one day and learn more about that suspension and what it feels like. Duncan Shaw, amazing trials rider and YouTuber. So fun to see him doing his thing. He has such a great channel. Recommend checking it out if you're into that sort of thing. Ever since I was diagnosed with my neurological disease, ME/CFS, and it's impacted my riding, I've been a lot more aware of different ways that people enjoy mountain biking and find ways to overcome physical hurdles to enjoying the trails. I'm here at the Bowhead booth, and they have some really incredible cycles here to help people of all abilities get out on the trail. Bowhead has 3 different models. This is the Ridge. It's fully electric, fully motorized, so there's no human propulsion on this. Over here is the Rogue. This is actually a kid's model right now, but they do make an adult model Rogue as well. This one is pedal assist, so as you pedal through the cranks here with your arms, it will assist you and help you keep up with your other buddies. Just like kind of like an e-bike like we see today. You're still getting a good workout, but it's helping you keep the pace that you need to stick with other people. These guys have been racing dual slalom and downhill here at Otter. So cool to see. What a unique outside the box way to use bike parts in ways they weren't probably originally designed to. They have some really unique design challenges to overcome here, and it's fascinating to see from an engineering perspective what they've been able to do. This looks familiar. Oh, so cool. What a piece of engineering. Interesting. This seems to have some sort of drive shaft inside of it. Might be chain driven. Interesting. So cool to see. Here's another bike on my radar, the Skitch. The guys from Santa Cruz rode these 50 miles from Santa Cruz to the event, charged them, and then they're riding them back home. At first I didn't quite understand bikes like the Skitch. The more I think about it, the more sense it makes. I think that'd be a really fun way to get around and get some miles in and still be able to explore some non-paved trails that aren't too rowdy. It's so exciting to be a cyclist right now. There are so many different options out there, however you like to explore the great outdoors. I'm here at the Wheels manufacturing booth, and this beautiful Sanitas taproot was sitting in the back. This is an American-made titanium frame coming in at $2,750 frame only. That's incredible value for US-made tie. There's some cool stuff going on here. You got sliding dropouts. They've got a single speed dropout. They've got a UDH dropout if you want to run transmission. Oh, look at these beautiful Ignite cranks. That's special for this show. It's built around a 120 mil fork. There are 6 sizes available. And if you don't want to buy it just as a frame, you can buy it as a complete bike as well. $59.50 for a GX cable build. Pretty awesome to see such a great value coming out of Durango, Colorado for titanium. Got a T47 bottom bracket. I love seeing that. We need to see more and more of that. Look at the quality of these welds. These are just beautiful. Some companies are grinding down their welds to make them look seamless. Other companies are showing off their welds with just how beautiful those look. Incredible. We're here at the DT Swiss booth, and one of the big announcements here at Sea Otter is that they just announced a brand new hub. It's the DT 240 DEG with a 90-tooth star ratchet. Let's take a look at this. Here's the traditional 54 tooth that we're used to seeing in the DT 350. This is a standard for decades. We're all familiar with it. The new one, take a look at the size difference. This went from 6.6 degrees of engagement to 4 degrees of engagement. Look at all that extra surface area there. It's going to be a much stronger drive ring. This is it right here. Everything's a little bit bigger, a little bit beefier. They took some of their favorite technology from all their different hubs and put it into this one. So that means you've got higher engagement, you've got higher load available on there. I like the 54 tooth, but I'm excited to have even more. 54 is about that point where I feel like I've got enough engagement to do what I need to do. More's always better, but it was never a low enough engagement that it bothered me. 36 for Sedona riding the technical, steppy, really awkward climbing stuff. 36 tooth wasn't quite enough for me, so most of my hubs have 54s in them. But I'm really excited about this new 240 DEG. It also comes in the new XMC 1501 Spline 1 wheel set. So you can get the whole thing built into a wheel, but they're also selling it as a hub separately. So you can talk to your favorite wheel builder about getting your wheel built up with these new 240 DEG 90-tooth star ratchets. I'm really excited about it. More points of engagement is good, and since it's bigger, it's even stronger than before. I've had an absolute blast at Sea Otter 2024 this year. Thanks for coming along with me and nerding out. There have been some really big brain, outside the box thinkers here. It's been fun to learn with you. And if you enjoy this content, make sure you're subscribed, give it a thumbs up. I work really hard to create these unbiased videos, and I appreciate your support. I appreciate all the kind comments, the great community we have. I appreciate every single one of my patrons. I appreciate everyone that uses the links below to save some money and help support this channel. It's been an absolute blast covering this beast of a show. Let me know what you thought of it, what your favorite thing was down below. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll catch you next time.